morning, good afternoon. It's Anders Carlson, the true host of the Earthborne Games podcast. Back at you. I've missed you guys. Good to see you all. 100%.
True host.
The true host.
It's great to have you back, Anders. It's great to have you.
Yeah, it's great to have you back.
Thank you. It's great to be back. It truly is. Was Fisher playing? I never got a chance to watch the episodes yet. Were you playing host for them?
Yeah, as much as it is. You know, I feel like our podcast is mostly conversation.
True.
But I definitely was a more high-strung host than... Like, I was like, I wanted to embody your laid-back attitude, but it's just not in my personality.
So do you kick off the episode with my hello bullshit?
Nah, I don't think so. Not exactly.
Good. I gotta watch it. I'm honored that my name was in a title.
Half your name.
Yeah, it's been like a month. It's been a month. You guys have been very busy. I'm excited to hear about it all. We're here with Andrew Fisher. Sorry, I forgot how to do this.
It's been so long.
You've already spoken. Let's go over to Evan. Evan looking large and in charge.
Yeah. Yep. I've upgraded my workspace. I'm decided to finally treat my office as a professional environment, and I got a standing desk because I've had back problems. So
yeah. How's it going so far?
It's going good. I mean,
what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on it? How many days has it been?
It's been like a week, and it's great because it's like an adjustable one, so I could just lower it right now, and perhaps maybe I'll even do that partway through the podcast. You know, just to
does
wow
it feel weird?
What?
Does it feel weird to wow us? Whoa, he's going down! Look. Does it feel weird to draw standing up?
It actually doesn't. But I prefer to still sit while I'm drawing, but I can still do it while I'm standing too. So yeah,
cool.
It's not bad.
That's good.
You know, I think my favorite comment you've made about the standing desk so far was before we started recording, which was a very like high person thing to say, which was like, the ceiling is so close now.
Yeah.
You're saying if someone was high from
and
drugs,
they stood up, they'd be like, the ceiling is so close to me now.
Whoa. Yep. That's true.
Pretty much.
He's high, but in multiple ways. We've got Andrew Navarro coming from the Butterfly Garden.
That's right.
Butterfly Forest.
Yep, I have the Mariposas behind me.
Mariposas.
There is a just down the street, couple streets, there's a house that is like a butterfly garden.
Oh, cool.
You can go check out. Yeah.
Does it cost $5 to get in?
Hundreds. I don't know how much it costs to get in. It has like hundreds of different butterflies in there.
Cool.
All sorts of things that they eat and pollinate. It's pretty awesome.
My daughter gave me inspired this funny thought about butterflies the other day. The thought is, wouldn't it be funny if people just like swatted butterflies that landed on them the way we do with like mosquitoes? Because there's a fake butterfly and she like slapped it. That'd be a great comic strip, you know?
It is an insect, you know?
Yeah,
so.
Just get out of here. Just kill you.
It's so cool when they land on you, though. You want them to like hang out.
Yeah,
right,
that's like on your finger. Yeah.
That's why it's a good comic strip, you know? The guy slaps it. Anyway, I just gave away my best idea.
Yeah. Instant regret.
Says a lot that that's my best idea of the moment. So here we are. Let's move on. We got all the normal stuff. We got a lot of listener questions to get to because this is actually, forgot to tell you, this is the final edition of the Gamefound editions of the Earthborne Game podcast. So we're going to talk about some updates on the Gamefound, which is very exciting. Andrew, give an update on how the Gamefound is doing.
I will. Have you been paying attention to it at all, Anders?
Well, like I told you before, I've been obsessed with a woman in my life.
Which is great. So the answer is no. You haven't checked it out.
No, I haven't heard any news about anything in the world. I've been in a love bubble, which is great. And I'm sorry to the listeners if that's gross to you.
You've changed.
No, that's fantastic. I think you should, at the very least, you should go to the page and check out what I did with one of your art pieces.
Oh yeah.
Mine?
Because
Wow.
yeah,
Can I look at it right now?
It looks awesome.
Let me see. Gamefound. How do I find this?
www.
Gamefound.com.
Gamefound.com.
You start updating. I'll look at it. Okay. Give us the update.
Yeah.
And I'll interrupt you the moment I see it.
It's going great. We have 1 week left. 1 week left in the Gamefound campaign. We're, as of this recording, we're sitting at about 4,200 backers.
Cool.
You saw it?
Whoa. That's sick. I love that.
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
You put that together?
I did.
Oh,
Yeah,
for the
and then
listeners,
Evan
I
did
made
a little treatment on it.
I made a spider for the core game, and then there's a huge mountain behind it now, and a ranger warding it off. Warding it off.
Yeah, just kind of encountering it, you know.
Encounter it. That's awesome. That's what the card should have looked like.
Well, and one of the cool things about the treatments is that like Aatrox Mountain, which is in the background, is like very brightly lit, and the spider's kind of, it was in its original art, it's in this kind of dark ravine, so everything on the art is dark, but like the contrast of the darkly lit spider with this brightly lit mountain behind it like casts this big silhouette of the spider, which is very cool.
Yeah, it worked great. It was a really awesome happy accident as I was working on a different composition that I was sharing with Evan and kind of struggling with. And then I just kind of started throwing that together. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I dropped the mountain back there and it was perfect.
It is amazing because you can now really see the size of this spider. Like you get the idea now. Mm-hmm. I do. Like this for the first time I see how big it's supposed to be. Cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It worked out really great. It was awesome.
Well
and then being able to combine your art with Evan's and Zhang's,
and it fits. It works.
And it all works. It's great.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think it exemplifies the artwork in the game really, really well.
For sure. That's cool.
Yeah. So anyway, as I was saying, we're sitting at about 4,200 backers right now as of this recording. We're at $684,000 for the campaign, which is awesome. I think we're on 100 plus from where we were last time we were recording. And yeah, well over our original crowdfunding campaign, which is really, really great. So yeah, we got about a week left. So we have a bunch of updates planned. We'll have another Covenant live stream coming up on Wednesday. And then some more just fun, like written updates. I'll do my sustainable production update, which I started working on today. But did not like anything at all what I was writing. So I think I figured out how to do it. It felt too academic and dry and boring, and it needs to be informative, but these updates are also effectively marketing pieces. So
right,
I don't want people to just turn off immediately when they start reading. Like I want to try to bring you along. So I think I figured out how to do it.
I know how to do it. Here's your prompt.
Okay, hit me.
Your prompt is: take this and make it better. This is Chet GPT, by the way. Take this, take what I wrote and just make it more fun.
No. There you go. No, I don't trust Chet GPT as far as I can throw it.
Oh, you can read it back and you can edit it. You don't have to take it wholesale.
But now it knows all my secrets. I don't want to tell Chet GPT all those things. I lose all that.
You don't want to tell Chet, the CEO of Chet GPT.
Yeah, Chet GPT. Yeah, screw that guy.
Chet
sounds like a total DB, and he probably
should be a website for a guy named Chet GPT who does the same thing but just slower and with some attitude.
Exactly.
Do it yourself if you need it faster.
So GPT isn't AI driven. It's just driven by a guy on the other side of the keyboard.
Yeah. It's all Chet all day long, every hour, every day.
All Chet all day.
So the campaign's been going great. Pretty much the exact same time during the campaign last time around, I said to myself, next time we'll make it 2 weeks. Because 3 weeks is long. It is long. It takes a lot of energy. And during the middle portion of the campaign, while you do get funding and some interest, like it's really hard to keep that momentum going. We were talking about it earlier today, and Fisher was saying, last time we had some big reveals in the middle of the campaign. Like we had the demo, we had the Covenant playing it, which is all stuff that people have never seen. But now the game is out, and it's more of a people know what it is, and you can go and find out tons of information about it from tons of different sources. We really don't have, and we don't have stretch goals, so there's not like these big explosive moments during the campaign to really hype up. So it just feels like 2 weeks maybe would have been better, especially since we're doing late pledges and stuff too. So I asked the guys, next time, don't let me forget. 2 weeks.
Yep.
Because at some point between last time and this time, I was like, we should just do 3 weeks again. But now that I'm here at the 2 week mark, I'm like, man, what? I'm tired. Let's make it 2 weeks.
Well, I remember when you said like we're still going to do 3 weeks. My reaction was like, oh, okay, all right, clearly he's considered this and changed his mind. Next time I'll just be like, you said. Yeah,
yes, please, exactly. Yeah, it's like talking to like a time travel version of myself. It's like, I might not remember this conversation, but make sure to tell me this thing. It's for our own good.
Timestamp this moment in the podcast.
Yeah, just play it for me.
Title this episode "A Reminder to Andrew."
Yeah,
a reminder for Andrew.
That's right.
Or just,
but it's
2 weeks.
Even though it's a lot of work, it is a lot of fun. I'm still pretty much buried underneath all my emails because I'm, spending a lot of time just working on updates and chatting with people and I was doing tax things today, this morning. That was super fun. But yeah, campaign's going great. It's been pretty awesome.
Sweet. Should we move on to questions, or was there more here?
Yeah, just a reminder to check out the first couple Gamefound episodes. So the last 2 episodes of our podcast, we've been doing it weekly during the Gamefound. And if you're curious about anything in the Gamefound and haven't checked those out, we chat with Luke Eddy and Davi Polino about all of the work they've done on Stewards of the Valley and Legacy of the Ancestors. And so we dive into the details on those expansions and talk all about it. So check out those episodes. I think we also, as of, when this airs, yesterday, we made a couple additions. Andrew, do you want a quick talk about that to the errata pack and stuff?
Oh, sure. Yes. So just based on some feedback that we've gotten in the conversations I've been observing about the card errata pack in conjunction with the card set dividers from the first printing. I talked about this a couple episodes ago during our FAQ section and gave a different answer than what I'm giving right now. So I'm correcting myself. Our original plan was to give people new card dividers in the expansions in Legacy of the Ancestors and Stewards of the Valley. But the more I thought about that, even when I was saying it when I was talking about it a couple episodes ago, I was like, I don't know if this is the right approach. Ultimately decided to give the dividers in the card errata pack instead of those expansions. So that if you own the first printing, that means if you got it in the original Kickstarter or you've bought it at retail since, you can get what is called the card errata and divider pack. That will give you all of the significantly errated cards and a new full set of dividers to update the ones from your original printing. And these ones are taller and they're of a heavier card stock. So you should enjoy them. I got the quote back from a factory today. We pretty much can make it work. Maybe at a little bit of a loss, but not too much. We'll see once we have the final numbers. But it just seemed like the right thing to do, the best way to do it. And this way, you don't need to buy the expansions to get those dividers if you just own the core set. And also, new backers won't get a bunch of dividers in those expansions that they just don't need. So it feels like a better solution all the way around.
Sure. Is that everything on the Gamefound?
I believe so.
There's a couple other things. Do you want to talk about this one I have highlighted right now, Andrew?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yes.
So some listeners during last week's podcast, we were talking about Stewards of the Valley, which is the Ranger card expansion. And some keen listeners noticed that we listed how many cards come in it, but our totals on the podcast didn't quite add up to the number that we list on the Gamefound. So what are the mystery cards?
Yeah, so I think I've talked about this on the Discord a little bit. At least a few of them, at least probably 5, will be taken up by the journal entries for the personal objectives. So Anders, in Stewards of the Valley, you'll get new personal objectives for your background sets. So these are like lifetime ambitions that your ranger might have. That when you fulfill them, you'll unlock a personal reward card. So just like you're unlocking rewards in the campaign, you can you can unlock this through these cards.
Sweet.
So at least probably 5 of those cards, front and back, I'm thinking, will be instructions on or just little entries for those personal objectives, like the setup and then the reward granting. But the rest are kind of still a little up in the air. We've had ideas, and I think we have a direction that we've been talking about that is probably most likely. But right now they're kind of extra slots that we could do other things with. I see you're like, Fisher, looks like you're like scanning your brain for what it could be.
No, but, I know what we want to put in most of those slots.
Yeah. But so do you want to talk about it? Do you want to just say it? Because I think it's still the best idea.
Yeah, I think so.
Are the aspects.
Yeah, so it's alternate aspect distributions. So to give you more and varied options for your ranger deck building.
Yeah, so that means we'd have the vaunted 4 stat in something, 2 1s and a 2. So like real min maxi if you want to go that direction. And then I think we were also talking about the straight 2s all the way across potentially being one of them, but that one's maybe too good.
Yeah, that one needs some more testing. The no dump stat could be a little too good, so we'll put a pin in the all 2s.
yeah. That's the only one I think is still an outlier, but I think the rest of those slots are going to be taken up by those aspect cards.
Yeah, that'll chew up a good number of our remaining cards on the press forms. Between the background info and those, we might have a couple extra slots, but not many. And if we can think of good candidates for those, we will. But I think that we're talking about the bulk of it right here for sure. Yep.
Cool. That's that. And that leads us to our question for Darren. Do we want to do that one? The FAQ one?
Yeah, I think we should probably talk about it.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay.
FAQ, what is the deal with the Moments on the Path expansion? Moments on the Path expansion?
Yeah, so Moments on the Path is an expansion from... So we talked a lot about Stewards of the Valley and Legacy of the Ancestors in the last couple episodes, but we haven't really talked about Moments on the Path, which is kind of that last expansion. And I'd say that, like, of the different FAQs we've gotten, that's probably one of the most common ones, is people just looking for more information on Moments of the Path. So I figured it might be cool to share a little bit about that today. It's a lot smaller than the other ones, so it's not like there isn't as much to share, but I feel like we should give a little bit more info. Davi and I are writing up an article that we'll be sharing later this week that you'll also get to dive into all sorts of stuff, but I thought it'd be cool to talk about here. So I guess Andrew, do you want to cue it up? What's describe the moments on the path a little bit and what you see as being cool about it.
Yeah, well, moments on the path, I think the thing that I think is cool to explore with it thematically are things that we can't capture through features and beings and their interaction on the table. So I think there's a way that we can capture like literal moments in time that are a little bit more ephemeral, like something as pleasant as like, catching a scent of flowers on the breeze, or something a little bit more irritating, like tripping over a root when you're hiking, which is something that I think most people have probably done. I've definitely done that. So I think that, like, thematically, I think that's an interesting space to explore. And I'm also interested in diving into it because, moments were a card type that used to exist in the Path deck in early versions of the game. And then we pulled them out, I think, for good reasons. But I think when we've been talking about it recently, I think we've got some good ways of making sure that the prior issues with them won't crop up again. So I'm interested in trying to reintroduce them, and the fact that they're going to be optional, I think, also helps. Like, if you want to play with these, you can. If you don't, you can just play with the path deck as it's currently designed.
Yeah, so the way they kind of work is they get shuffled into your path deck, and when you draw them, much like a moment card, they just have a singular moment of an effect and then get discarded. So you draw them, they each have a little bit of flavor text on them where the art would normally be. Since they're not sitting on the board or anything, we instead did writing for each card. And so you kind of read this story for the card and then execute some rules effects that affect you all right now. And an important part about these is they don't come onto the board, sit on the board, add complexity to your board. And Andrew kind of alluded to some of the issues we had early on with them. In early design, the path deck was like a lot deeper than it is today. The path deck was shuffled together, was a bunch of cards. And so, if you can imagine a path card deck, I don't know how many cards exactly, Andrew, but it was like
it's about
somewhere
twice
between
as
20
big.
and 40. Yeah, like 20 to 30 cards. So if even a quarter of that is moments, you can end up, when you shuffle, just because of randomness, getting a bunch of moments in a row. And then what would happen is, especially in like a solo or two-player game, you could end up spending how many rounds in a row? 2 or 3 rounds in a row just drawing moments, and that's it, right? Not fun. the cool, like, emergent interactions on the board just don't happen. But now we have this thinner path deck, and we are shuffling them in this way, both at a time and based on the number of players. They're going to get shuffled into your deck. And so that clumping can't happen in the same way. They're always they just can't clump in this way that's going to ruin your game experience. And instead, they add exactly what we loved about them initially, which is adding these, as Andrew said, experiences that we can't capture with these other cards. Additionally, one side benefit is that they have about the same rough challenge as drawing another path card. They still add complexity and hard choices to your game, but they don't sit on that board, and so they are a lot faster to resolve. And as those of you who have played 3 and 4 player know, our game takes quite a bit of time with that many players. And so because you add more of these, the more players you have, it actually kind of simplifies the board a bit while still maintaining that difficulty and decision making. It simplifies your board a bit, and so it actually can speed up 3 and 4 players that experience a bit more. So it has a few benefits, and I think we've kind of found interesting ways around some of those drawbacks that led us to remove them in the first place. So these can get shuffled in to either campaign, however you want to do it. The exact specifics we'll get into, you'll see in the actual product exactly how this happens, but this will kind of deepen your campaign experience no matter where you go. And so it's a good optional addition if this sounds interesting to you, adding a little bit of variety, speeding up the higher player count game. There's no real other pros and cons about it. So if that sounds cool to you, pick it up. It's pretty small, pretty cheap, and they're fun.
That sounds really cool. Curious what these moments on the path are. Can you share one or no? Not yet.
Yeah, so we like
It's an example.
We've got a few in the spread here. I think one that's kind of cool is it's kind of tucked in the back of the spread is a cold wind, and it kind of a breeze comes through, this cold air pierces you, and you're going to need to kind of like warm yourself, and you have this choice to light a fire to warm yourself, or to kind of I forget exactly. I'm trying to peek at the. I've just got it on the Gamefound and it's sticking out.
You talking about the renders card fan?
Yeah, no, it's okay. I remember. So you can either just go on through the cold and suffer some fatigue as a result, or you can light this fire. And if you light the fire, you're going to have to take some ramifications of lighting that fire and shuffle them into the deck. And so you kind of have this like short-term benefit of lighting this fire against the long-term potential consequences of having lit this. And you'll have to kind of see what those consequences might be when you get the expansion.
Someone spots the fire. Something.
We'll have to find out.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll have to find
out. All right, guys. Thanks for the Gamefound update. Things sound awesome. Of course they do. Let's move on to the question for Darren this week. Was there one in between? Let's see.
Yeah, we had one. Was there one while you were out? Is that what you're asking? Yeah, we asked one about what people thought the other backgrounds and specialties might be that after we announced Spirit Speaker and Tail Spinner.
Yeah. Cool.
And people actually spun off a whole question for Darren channel on the Discord where people have been theorizing.
Nice. That's cool.
So it's been fun. They've guessed most of them. I think there's two that no one has guessed yet. So a lot of you are on the right track, but there's some things that you might not. We might go a direction you weren't quite thinking.
I was surprised to see so many people wanting a Rascal background.
Yeah, everybody wants to play Quizzy.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was pretty awesome. I never really thought of that, but I kind of like the sound of it.
For sure.
Do you think Quizzy joins the Rangers in the future? What do you think becomes of Quizzy?
I think sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolute.
Yeah,
absolutely. So is this is the new question for Darren?
Yeah. So our new question is, I'm kind of curious. So we've talked a bit about. We haven't asked this one, have we? I need to keep a record.
No.
We've talked a lot about the Valley, and we've talked a little bit about some of the things outside the arcology that you're going to see in the new expansion, the Verdessa to the south. Andrew, I think you've dropped hints at like the Bitter Pass to the north. Is that what? No, what's it called?
The Bitter Pass is to
Bitter Pass.
It used to be to the north in the original map, but with where we landed on the map, the Bitter Pass is to the east.
Okay, and then if you get further, there's like the Mississippian Sea and the smoke domes of Utah and stuff. So, like, of the things we have hinted about, what parts of the Earthborne setting are people most interested to learn more about? Like, are you interested to kind of see some of the stuff we've hinted at close to home? Are you interested in hearing about things more far-flung? What parts, for those of you who read the World book, is there anything there that kind of sparked interest? I'm curious to hear where you're most curious.
I know mine immediately.
What's that?
Yeah.
I forget his name, but the dude from the olden times who changed
the guide.
Things. The guide, yes. I want the guide, yeah. I want stuff about the guide. That's kind of, does that count? Does that count?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely counts. Yeah, the guide is one of those things that, like, I have an idea. I think I know pretty much exactly what the guide is, but
is the mystique what makes it cool, though?
I think the mystique is what makes it cool.
Yeah.
So, like, I think
you tell me. You tell me.
Yeah,
his name is Chet.
I think yes.
Chet GPT.
Yeah, you had to ruin it, Evan. Thanks.
Sorry.
That's
So you told Evan?
Spoiler alert right there.
You told Evan before you told
you
me.
not to say that. Fine.
Evan is going to sit in the questions for Darren channel and just anytime you say what part of the setting you're interested in, Evan will ruin it.
Do it. Okay, great question for Darren. Let's move on to the listener questions. And we've got one from Pepe. Pepe, I saw it mentioned that there's only 3 campaign expansions planned. Discussed a bit on Discord and Cardboard Herald, but do you want to elaborate here? Only 3 expansions planned. Is this true?
Sure. It is true. Yeah, we have 3 campaign expansions. Yeah, I think that's important to make that distinction because that, the campaign expansions form the framework of the narrative that we're telling. And while there's 3 planned, like the 3rd one is, in my mind, massive. So it's one of those things that, like, it may be same thing might happen to what we did with the first campaign expansion, where that
is it
was originally just
prequel about Chet?
One. Yeah. No.
Okay.
Maybe. Wait and see. Legacy of the Ancestors was conceived of as a much larger story, but then as we started working on it, it was just clearly we could not squeeze it all in the box. So we split it into another one. So we feel pretty confident that the next one, because we split this one into 2, should be doable at the size we were thinking. But the last one, the culmination of the arc that I have in mind, that one might end up being 2. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. It's pretty big.
It's going to take a different approach than the first 2 campaign expansions, and so because of that, it's a little harder to predict exactly the full scope of it until we start developing it.
Yeah, well, each one is going to take a slightly different approach. Like
That's
what we
true.
have planned for the next one too is also pretty unique. So, so we'll see. So, yeah, I guess maybe like 3 chapters at this point is maybe the best way to think of it, and then we'll see if we can squeeze all of that last campaign expansion into a single box, or if we need to break it out into 2. We'll see. But there's plenty of room to do other expansions and things that aren't full campaigns.
Additionally, if Earthborne Rangers is just gangbusters and growing and still thriving at that stage, we're not going to just abandon the game, right? But we likely at the same time won't just release expansions ad nauseum, right? So we wouldn't necessarily abandon the system or anything and move on, but how we continue with it will not be just the same types of expansions forever. It'll be a little more considered and a little different, is what I would guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's so far so many years in the future from now. It's like who knows. It's hard to say, but I feel pretty confident in at least this plan, where we are right now, being able to see that through, especially with how the Gamefound campaign is doing. Makes me feel even more and more confident that we'll be able to see the whole thing through, which is pretty exciting.
Awesome. Our next question comes from Eric. The lore book mentioned that Rangers often retire after 3 years and move on to something else. Rangers that stay on for 5 years have a ceremony at Lone Tree Station celebrating their dedication, and they get a gift. Assuming expansions keep coming out, will this ceremony be represented in the game? Assuming you stick with the same Ranger? It would be really interesting for me. Wait, is this a different question? No.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
It looks like a separate question.
Okay, you want to do that one first? Answer that?
I hadn't thought of it. I think that sounds pretty cool. Like, Evan, what do you think a ranger would get for their 5-year anniversary?
They'd get
an art
piece.
Yeah.
I never got mine, by the way, from FFG. So
what?
Really?
Dang.
Yeah, they're working on it.
Oh,
I don't know.
That's right now they are?
Saltiness.
Well, I think it was commissioned, but they just never got it printed and framed and sent to me. So
I see.
But I was thinking that just that question following the discussion about chapters and how the chapters could possibly become more than what you're initially considering made me think, like, wouldn't that be a neat epilogue kind of scenario or something?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how that
cool.
would work, but
for sure,
kind of neat to think about at least.
Yeah, yeah. I like the medal ceremony at the end of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Except instead of just walking up a red carpet, you have to walk all the way across the valley to get to Lone Tree Station.
Why not?
No, it's like a medallion hunt. You have to go find your prize somewhere in the valley.
Oh yeah,
it's hidden in a cache.
In a trash can.
You could shuffle in like all the rangers you've worked with across all the expansions, and they have custom text for like your reward.
Yeah.
Medallion hunt.
Yeah.
There you go.
Awesome.
Do we
all
still
right,
do
so
that?
3 campaign expansions and an epilogue.
All right. Eric also says it would be really interesting for me anyway to hear a discussion on what really happens when preparing for crowdfunding, during crowdfunding, and after. Almost like a documentary or timeline of what really happens. Isn't that what this is?
I feel like this is kind of what this is.
Yeah.
I don't know what more we could say of any interest than what we've already said.
I think maybe he wants like
podcasts.
a fly on the wall documentary style.
I mean,
just watching us on our computers. I don't know. Pretty boring.
Yeah. So like, here's the thing: the weeks leading up to it are just frantically realizing all the T's you haven't crossed and I's you haven't dotted yet, right? Like prepping some random graphics for the feed that you haven't seen yet, all etc. That kind of thing. And then when it's running, I wake up in the morning, I click refresh, I answer comments for a while, then I answer emails for a while, and then I write an update. And that's a good chunk of my day.
Nailed it. Yeah, exactly.
It's not hyper interesting to watch, I won't lie. But if you want, I can set up a GoPro, just like
try to squeeze in some time of doing other, non-Gamefound related tasks. Like I've gotten maybe 4 total hours of non-Gamefound related work done in the last couple of weeks.
Admittedly, I think this time around has been less of my time. Like I've actually gotten a decent amount of expansion work done, just entirely independent of the Gamefound.
Nice.
Which wouldn't have happened. Our first Kickstarter, with just like trying to kind of prove this unproven game to people, I feel like it was just Kickstarter all day, every day. We were prepping the demo, cleaning up the demo, answering questions, prepping the rules. But here, I will admit that after I'm done with the update and done with answering comments, I actually get to do some regular work this time around.
Nice.
So,
that's awesome. Yeah. That's great. And Evan, you've been pretty focused on just doing normal stuff, which has been pretty great.
Yeah.
I feel bad I haven't been able to give you like all the feedback that I like readily available for that, but
got plenty to do. The first week leading up to the Gamefound, I had to reacquaint myself with Blender so I could pick up some product render duties, and I was a little frustrated to learn how rusty I got, but so that took probably longer than it did to with the first Kickstarter. So
yeah, but it's great to have, I think that's one of the awesome things about our team is everybody on it is so multi-talented that we can help each other out with pretty much everything, which is great. I mean, I can't do renders. but I could build those mock boxes in Photoshop if I absolutely had to.
I can't draw the art. I mean, okay, I could.
You should
But
do one
no
card.
one wants that.
Just take your time and just, go for it.
There was a time in my life when I was pretty good at drawing, but that was like 15 years ago, so it's not good now.
Yeah.
You can even make a doodle, and I would try to make it a full illustration for you.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
That's true.
We also know what we're doing better this time around. It's like I didn't really forget how it went last time, so just being a little bit more prepared mentally, I think, has made it definitely easier this time around than it was the first.
Cool. Thank you, Eric. Next question comes from Grisamentum. Have you considered mixed habitat path decks? For example, woodland plus grasslands or old growth forest plus mountain. I asked because I learned about ecotones recently, areas where 2+ habitats meet, and noticed that those don't seem to exist mechanically in-game, but could hypothetically.
So I kept this question. I sometimes skip questions where it's like, here's a hypothetical thing. Have you thought about doing this? Because like we've obviously thought about a lot, and we don't want to spoil the things we are doing. So, but I thought there was an interesting anecdote around this one, which is when I pitched the terrain location system of traveling on the map to Andrew, it actually started as something kind of similar to this. Like there were, what was it, like icons on the map? And like for each icon you passed by, you added a set to the deck. And so most decks were kind of mixed and matched. One of the reasons we didn't do it there is that kind of path deck shuffling and setup that you have to do each time you travel is something we wanted to minimize as much as possible. And shuffling together a bunch of different things every single time and then like sorting them and then cross-referencing them was just a bit too much. And so we ended up going with the more straightforward terrain set and then the location cards, and that like ended up keeping that ritual a lot simpler. But at the same time, I think your idea is interesting. And in the tradition of Devi has a bad habit of putting the eyeball emoji on things on the Discord in a way that's slightly spoilery, Devi. So I will eyeball emoji this one verbally here. And that I think it's an interesting idea. I'll say that.
Yes, it is interesting.
Okay. Cool. All right. Next question comes from Dregu. I assume all carbon forged items came from the Carbon Forge. Is there only one of these in the world? What was it built for initially?
You have to play Legacy of the Ancestors to find out.
Ooh. All right. Cool. Good answer. Will there ever be an upgrade to the current path cards in Legacy? Wait, what is this?
Lure of the Valley, I think.
Oh, Lure of the Valley. Upgrade. Will there ever be an upgrade to the current path cards in Lure of the Valley, adding more features / beings at some point? Will moments of the path be applicable to any campaign, albeit current or future ones? I feel like you answered that earlier.
Yeah, we kind of answered the moments of the path one already, actually, which is yes, you will be able to use the moments in any campaign. Exactly what that looks like, you'll have to kind of wait and see on the final implementation of that, but it will be broadly applicable.
This is a real... And there's one more question from Dregu.
Well, I think we got to cover the first one, though, right? Will there ever be an upgrade to the current path cards?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. That's another thing I've thought a lot about. For sure. So this is a question of how we do it, but I do like the idea of either mixing up the existing path sets with new cards or offering alternates. You've kind of talked about that as a potential for like the nighttime stuff that are just whole new path set for the woods or wherever. I think that'd be really, really cool. So yeah, it's definitely on the list. It's always just a question of how to implement it. So we shall see.
We shall see. And then if you could choose where to live in the valley, where would you live? Nice.
Where would you
mixed
live,
bag.
Anders?
Well, I haven't finished the game. It's still set up over at my sister's house. But I mean, Lone Tree seems like a nice place.
Yeah, that's cool. Big tree house.
Yeah, hell yeah. Big tree house. I mean, who wouldn't want to live there? But yet again, I've not explored everywhere. So where would you guys choose?
I love Meadow. I think I'd live around Meadow somewhere. But I also like Lone Tree, so
yeah.
Ideally I'd be a ranger and live at Lone Tree for 3 years. Or 5.
Or forever.
Or forever, yeah.
Yeah, like Cordo.
That's true. Yeah.
I would definitely do branch. I like the more enclosed spaces of like a forest. Something like White Sky would be way too exposed for me, like living out on the water, and even Meadow too flat. I'd prefer being in the trees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd probably be like a hermit, more of a hermit, and not live in any of the villages, but somewhere in the mountains.
Yeah.
So
I
choose that.
An yet undisclosed place in the valley.
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I think that's like one part of the valley I'd like to explore, and I have some card ideas around this. But where we have like the population centers, but that doesn't mean that that's the only place where people live. Like there can be little homesteads like all over the place, and I think that'd be, I don't know, that gets my imagination pretty excited. So I would probably pick somewhere in the mountains or on the foothills of the mountains, like kind of outside of one of the settlements.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. Okay. Next question from Brosaya. Curious to know what EBR artwork you would choose for a tattoo. I got mine. I would choose those little chibi rangers for sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Yes, for sure. They're very iconic. Like I like iconic tattoos.
I think someone said in the Discord the Ranger badge, and that would be my choice. I actually have for Christmas last year, and I still haven't used them yet. I meant to bring them to PAX, but I forgot. But I have a bunch of temporary tattoos of the Ranger badge.
Oh, really?
I do, yeah. Yeah. I was going to bring them. I totally forgot. But I think that'd be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to Anders' iconographic point, right? Like it's a nice, discrete symbol.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd like, if I was going to get a piece of artwork, it would probably be one of Wayne's. I really like very stark black and white tattoos. Like the ones I have like on my arm are very like, I have like a water drop and some mountains and stuff. That's very kind of like,
you could get the little chibi rangers on that, and they'd go right.
That's true. Just like
right
hiking along the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's very kind of like Wayne's style of this stark, like black shapes, right? So it'd probably be one of Wayne's pieces. I don't know which one though. I would do. Evan, what would you get?
My joke one is I'd get a big Jarrus Keller right here. Is that his name, Jarrus? Yeah.
Jarrus? Yeah.
Who's
Jarrus,
that?
sorry. I always pronounce these names. I just picture the
or Jarrus. It's whatever you want to say. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking Kanan Jarrus from Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, so that was screwing me up. I think I would, design my own tattoo, and I'd probably style it off of like the box art, something more graphic and with organic flowing lines and stuff like that. I don't know what it would be though.
The howling winds weather or something would be pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, the weather cards. I like those symbols too. So there's a lot of good options there.
Yeah, show us your Earthborne Rangers tattoos if you do it. Like,
Someone will.
Kidding.
I've only like seen my work ever show up as tattoos a couple times. Like, I know people who've gotten like Netrunner tattoos, who've gotten like some of the icons I designed.
Cool.
Did you design the link symbol?
No, I think that was
okay.
Silsby did that one. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yeah, because Quinn's on Shut Up and Sit Down.
Yeah,
has the
he got
link
the
symbol
link.
with
Yeah. No, my friend Tim Bunn, brother of Zach Bunn, he got the Jinteki logo tattooed. And I was like, oh,
that's cool.
That.
Well, that ties into the next part of his question, which is, how do you feel about your work for a game being tattooed on a person?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. I made a painting one time, and this guy bought it, and it was like some deer, some stylized deer, and I wrote, "It's not the end," or something like that. And years later, he's like, "Yeah, I gave that to a friend, and then she got that tattooed on her arm, just gigantic words.
Wow.
This is not the end," or something. I can't even remember what it was. In my kind of style, you know.
Oh, that's
it's cool. Really cool feeling.
Yeah,
it's
I
really
was like,
cool.
wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome, you know. I wish I could remember what it said. It's funny too, because, you know, like I wrote that, whatever it was, just on a whim. That's what I would do. Just like thought of some words, and then turns out it meant something to somebody else.
Yeah.
Didn't mean really probably anything
that's
to
awesome.
me. Yeah. Okay. Stygian. Will there be more ways, Fisher? Just let it
I'm
be.
shaking my. We've done so much to pronounce his name right, Anders.
I'm just going Stygian. I think Stygian would approve. Okay, it's Stygian. Will there be more ways to play solo that don't rely too heavily on fitness? Like, can you take a one fit build successfully through either campaign?
Yeah, so that's fitness is often for solo players pretty critical because it's how you travel around the map. And so I think he's kind of curious about the potential of other builds. And well, so I think you can at the moment do a full solo playthrough with one fitness. It is possible. There's a couple different deck builds you can do it with.
Yeah, just get
one
those trekking
involving-
poles.
Yeah, the trekking poles are the obvious one, but I think there's a couple other builds you can do. And so, you know, naturally, this is a space we're exploring, and our new Stewards of the Valley expansion adds a bunch of new Ranger cards and new different deck builds. Especially, like, I know there's at least one Spirit Speaker build that could do this, but I'm sure there are others. So, as we release more Ranger cards, this will certainly become more and more possible.
And I think if you know if you have a really good understanding of the layout of the valley, you can engineer it in a way where your one fitness won't negatively impact you too much. You should just stay away from a couple places just to be safe. Or go
get
in
a bunch of
knowing. Yeah.
Or get a bunch of exploration icons in your deck.
Yeah, or that. Exactly.
All right. Thank you, Stain. And our next, it's time for the question of the week. And the question of the week this week comes from Chubfrog. Do biomelds have spirits?
Well,
Question?
clearly they do. 'Cause
Clearly.
we showed an Eric's spirit.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
So we have
Watch last week's episode.
Yeah. There's new
Okay,
cards. There's spirit
Okay.
beings.
Oh, cool.
And yes, so biomelds do have spirits, and I think is a really cool wrinkle to the setting, and I think it's an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah, think about.
Yeah, how created things, engineered things could still have a spirit, I think is interesting, as I like that idea that everything that we imbue with intention has a spirit of some kind. Like if you create it, you can sense what that might be. I think that's a neat thing.
Me too.
And it's a sentiment that I really enjoy. So Yeah, I thought it was cool. I think we had that discussion right when we were deciding what things to make to make to personify the spirits.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as these biomelds came up, I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Let's do that."
Sweet. I love that.
Yeah, I'm into it. So the answer is yes.
So the question's not as funny as I thought it was. It's actually related to something real.
I do kind of like you just randomly nominating one of the questions, the question of the week each time.
Sure. Oh yeah, it's a new feature of the show for sure.
I did have a thought from that question. If there was a tragic loss at some point in one of the campaigns, can a character come back as a spirit, kind of like Star Wars?
Oh yeah,
that
would be fun.
Yeah. Wide open opportunity there, Evan. That's amazing.
Love the spiritual stuff. Okay, D-Chads is here.
Honestly, write that down so we don't forget.
Okay.
I'll go put it in carbon forge mode.
Thank you.
Which also might be a spoiler. I don't remember if we've said that name.
We've
before.
talked about that. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, it's D-Chad's time. Navarro, is there a board game scene where you are in Costa Rica? Oh, is there a board game scene? If so, what has it been like? If not, have you been planting board game seeds?
I love that we're like me and D-Chads were like this. He just calls me Navarro.
Yeah.
There is no board game scene. Not where I am. I'm kind of out in the country. Like everyone here is a farmer. Not literally, but there's a lot of farmers. But yeah, there are games. There's a coffee shop that we go to in town. They have Uno. A very, very used copy of Uno. It's very soft, the cards.
That's the best kind of
and
Uno.
Dirty. Yeah.
Have we talked about Uno Flip on here? Uno Flip?
Yeah, we did. We did talk about Uno Flip. Yep. You said it changed your mind on Uno.
There you go. Thank you.
But no, like there's no really board games for sale. There's like, except for like dominoes, Connect 4, checkers, chess, anything that can be made with plastic components. Like if Games Workshop could find a way to import their goods here, they'd do great because plastic works out well down here because it's so wet. It's very, very humid. So paper things,
hence the Uno cards.
Yeah, exactly. Paper things don't do well in this climate. Like you need to store them really carefully or else they're just going to mold. So, so there's not a lot of books down here for sale either, like, paper books. And the ones that do exist on shelves, everything's shrink wrapped. So that it doesn't get all janky when it's sitting on the shelf waiting to be purchased, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, there's no board game scene. And I'm starting Spanish lessons next week. So I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah. Cool. So we'll see. Maybe once I start to feel a little bit more confident in my Spanish, maybe I'll try to go out there and teach some more complicated things. We did bring Skull and Carcassonne down, so I think you don't need language for that.
Yeah, especially Skull is like very accessible and easy to get into. Not a lot of components. I don't think there's a single word on Skull's components. Is there?
Nope.
Yeah.
Same thing with Carcassonne. I just have to be able to explain how to play.
Yeah, you have to explain farmers.
Right. Yeah, don't worry about it. Just put them around. It'll be fine. And as I go on to win the game with my farmers.
Yeah.
As always. But yeah, I think like if this country just has the same issue that a lot of countries in South America have, where it's just importing is just super expensive. So, and there's no one making them down here. So maybe I should just start making board games in Costa Rica for Costa Ricans. Because it's definitely, there's like, they like to hang out and spend time together. I think
dominoes or anything like that. Do they do?
Yeah, not
teach you.
Not really. You know, yeah, teach you. Yeah, but anything. I think they'd be down for it because they like to have fun. They like to hang out together. A lot of times they're trying to stay out of the sun, so you can just like hang out on a porch and play a game.
Yes.
Yeah, ripe for the picking.
This comment is way too late, but I feel like in Costa Rica, where they speak Spanish, Uno should be called one, right? One. One. Yeah. It's got to be. There's your game idea. One. It's not as fun to yell one.
I saw that there's a dose. Did you know that there's a dose?
Wait, like, is it a direct sequel to Uno?
It's a sequel.
It's by the same company that makes Uno. It's called Dose.
Fascinating.
I saw it at the store because they sell Uno and Dose at the store that's in town. But I didn't pick it up.
Oh yeah, it's all in the same style and everything. I had no idea this existed.
Yeah.
Dose. Okay. Next one is from Prince John. Now that you have a campaign on Gamefound, how does it compare to Kickstarter?
I think the jury's still out because there's so much more to do. I think setting it up felt easier. It felt like the page kind of built itself in a way, whereas Kickstarter is far more open. Since Gamefound focuses on games, you kind of know what you're going to need and build in a nice framework for you to build off of. I did like that. Also, I had to set up the store like it was the pledge manager right out of the gate. So that took a little bit more time up front than it did on Kickstarter, but now that work is done, so I'm not going to have to do it again. So that's nice. But we'll see how all the admin stuff for the pledge manager and the late pledges and all that stuff, how that works out. I think the jury's still out, but overall, I think it's been pretty good. Yeah, it has its own little foibles, but overall, I like the interface of Gamefound more, and I think I've been a little bit more pleased with it. It just seems a little bit more modern, you know. But I think Kickstarter would have been fine too. Going back there a second time, you know.
Interesting.
I don't think it's a ton different.
Okay.
Ultimately,
good to know.
Yeah, good
to know. I remember you feeling a lot more like, yeah, Gamefound is the way at one point, maybe.
Yeah, well, I think it's been, like I said, I think it's been good, but we'll see once it's all said and done, because I think, you know, the benefit of Gamefound is that you do your crowdfunding there, and then you do the pledge manager there also. So the fact that it's all in one place, that should feel really good when we get to that point where it matters, but we're just not there yet.
Cool. All right. The next question is my new question of the week. It's because this is something I actually wondered as I played the game. It's from Darthus. What is the story behind the design of the Irix? The circling Irix, right? I'm unclear how the four wings function or help it fly more effectively, especially if they're on top of one another. I got to that card. I remember thinking, would that actually have evolved to have that? And I answered my own question. I said, it's just cooler. It's just cool. It's just interesting. It makes you wonder.
Also, dragonflies exist.
That is true. Answer.
They
question answered.
I mean, they're very different than an insect's anatomy is a bit different, but dragonflies do exist.
Do you want to take this one, Evan?
And
I agree with Anders, this is cool. Also, you could if it's problematic for you to imagine, just pretend they're vestigial, I guess, or something.
What's that?
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
like they're
they're-
not quite as effective.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're just
Like an appendix.
they're just appendages that were abandoned over the course of evolution or something. I don't know.
Like
but
like the earlobes.
really?
Like earlobes.
Are earlobes vestigial?
What are they for?
For Pearson.
I'm not a
Pierce.
biologist.
The male nipple, is that better for
That's
you?
right. Yeah.
That probably is.
Yeah, I think. Well, so that's one of Joe's designs, and I
Mhm.
think we had the write up for them that they have 3 eyes, 3 beaks, and 4 wings. So I think is how Sam wrote it, and then Joe just took that and then made the Irix, and it's kind of been that way ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it just looks cool, but I like it's got these little baby wings that maybe don't. Who knows what they're
Stabilizers.
for? Yeah,
Right.
maybe they go up in like a little fin and then like help it move through the air or something.
Oh yeah,
Maybe they're drag. They cause drag for high winds or something, and so they can kind of hover more.
Sure.
There we go.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. What do you think, Darthus? What do you think? Your answer is as good as ours, I think.
Exactly.
Cool. Next question, final question, comes from Dog Boy. Will the expansion address the inability to add non-reward attachments and companions after character creation?
So this is a kind of specific question, but I don't know how much of this is spoilery.
I think we can
But-
just say there will be a vendor in the expansion where you can get a type of attachment. You
And-
don't have anything for the companions yet, though.
But yeah, so broadly, yes, there will be ways to trade more and different types of cards like you can and exchange them like you can in the core set.
Cool. Great. Thanks for all the questions, everybody. And that leads us to the stuff we're into. And so that's my turn. I'm Anders. This is the Indie Game Corner.
Everyone's
Really-
really waiting for this. Like we have people just
this has been
salivating for
requested,
this.
Yeah.
Are you serious? They missed it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have. Yeah. We got like a crying
Pressure's
emoji and
on.
everything. Yeah. No
What?
Anders Indie Game Corner. Crying emoji.
You're lying to me.
I'm not.
No, yeah, you go to Discord, you can see.
Wow. I'm going to have to start my own podcast.
Spin-off.
The Love
Well-
Bubble podcast.
Love bubbles. So yeah, if you all have ever been in love, that's all you do. That's all you do. You just do that, and you don't want to play video games because you finally feel like a cool guy.
Yep.
You don't have to play nerdy old games. But but I actually did play this game called Planet of Lana. Did I talk about this last time? I hope not.
I don't think so.
Planet of Lana is a beautiful looking game. It's definitely inspired by the likes of Inside and Limbo, and which those are 2 of my all-time favorite games ever. Inside might be my favorite game. I don't think I listed it as my favorite game way back when we did our top 5 games, but it's up there. Inside, brilliant game to me. What do you guys think of Inside? Have you all played Inside?
I haven't played it.
Yes. It's
Wow.
it's a little dark. It's like
Yeah.
but it's cool.
Oh,
It's,
okay.
this pla-
I watched the trailer for this. Yeah, it looks cool.
it's so good.
This Planet of Lana is beautiful.
Yeah, Planet of Lana is beautiful. It's a lot like those games, not as good, but it's it's like a puzzle. What do you call it? Environmental puzzle.
Side-scrolling.
Side-scrolling environmental puzzles. Puzzles are all so easy, but it's just like it tells a nice little simple story. You feel emotionally invested right from the get-go. It looks really good. It feels really fun just to play through like a movie. Probably takes like 3 or 4 hours to complete. I like it a lot. I think
Cool.
it gets my stamp of approval.
Nice. I think it's on Game Pass. I could check that out.
Oh, really? You should.
Yeah.
You should. It's like, it hooked me right away. It's simple. It just feels nice. Don't take it too seriously. And then I saw the movie Poor Things. That's a good movie. And then I have played every day. I've played the New York Times mini crossword, and I've played Wordle every day. And I've played this newer one they have on there called Connections. Have you guys ever played this?
Yep.
You're into it?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a 4x4 grid of words, and you have to find groups of 4. And you don't know what the themes are, what connects these 4 words. And there's a lot of like red herrings in the words, and it requires a lot of thought, and it's pretty clever usually, the way that these red herrings are put in there to make you like think you've got the grouping, and then there's like missing just one word. So you have to rethink. It's really cool.
That's kind of like reverse code names. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? I can never remember what Codenames is like.
Codenames, you put out a grid of cards, much like that, a little bigger, and then you have like a clue giver who gives a single word clue and then a number of cards that fit that clue, and you have to guess which cards are part of that clue. So you're kind of trying to create as big a set as possible, but it's kind of like that in reverse. Which is cool.
You'd like Codenames, Anders. Yeah.
I've played it. I just can never remember like what it's about. I know I liked it. Connections. Okay, that's it. I promise that I will have played at least one new and exciting indie game by next time. Okay. Promise, you guys. I'm sorry, and thank you for your interest. Thank you.
I think they'll forgive you.
I think that's it. I'm just looking at my phone. Like, did I play any apps or anything? No, that's it. New York Times puzzles. Let's move on to the next person, Fisher.
Oh, I'm playing Connections.
Are you
right now?
I brought it up, and then I was like, oh, I can just play.
Is it free?
Okay, no.
I think you can play every day.
I hope so. I opened it.
Yeah, I think you need a subscription to play like past puzzles, so you can play the daily one.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. Can't wait to see what you think of that.
For mine, I actually booted up a video game for the first time in a long time, mostly because my friends Matt and Sydney were interested in playing it, and we usually play most of multiplayer games together. We played a lot of survival games together, so they were interested in booting up the survival game du jour, which is Pal World.
Oh
yeah. I've been watching Sebastian play that game. It looks fun.
Legally distinct pocket monsters. It's really fun.
Wow.
I think one of the things that made me kind of click with it is it does. Okay, let me back up. One thing about Pal World is that it doesn't do anything new. It actually kind of reminds me of the board game Unmatched in that, like, it's just pieces of other games glommed together into a new game that is great. Right? Like, Unmatched is great, but it is just epic duels. It's explicitly epic duels with the Tannhauser vision system. They even say it in the original printing of it. They said that that's like, exactly just what they did. And here, Pal World grabs, Pokemon, obviously, any companion-based survival game like Ark or Conan Exiles, and then a little bit of Breath of the Wild. And they just staple them together, and that's their game. And it's great.
Yeah.
But the thing that they add that really helped me click with it is there's just a level of polish that's not there for a lot of other survival games. Like, a lot of survival games are super janky. And, like, there's weird UI and, like, oh, how do I do this thing? Oh, it's really convoluted. And if you didn't look up in the wiki, you're not going to know. But, like, Pal World, everything's very intuitive. There's a lot of bugs still. Like, trying to get your pals to actually work at their station at your base is an exercise in frustration. But it's just buggy pathfinding. But, like,
it's very early access, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like, what does that even mean anymore?
It means you can have a lot of bugs and they can get forgiveness.
Yeah, and we can't complain about it.
That's right.
But, like, it's just like what station they can work. All your Pokemon have different types, and then they have like levels in those types, and the types determine which stations they can work, and it's all just pretty slick. So I've been enjoying it. It's been fun.
Cool.
So
Cool.
instead of having your pocket monsters duel each other, they just are put to work at stations.
Now, you also have
your pals, Evan. Your pals.
They're pals.
Yeah, your pals.
Nintendo will show up in this podcast.
I also saw like a
You can
quick
eat them.
video of like I think one of the bigger pals had like a big machine gun, and that just seemed weird to me. But I guess I have to play the game.
No, it is really like there's this weird dark undercurrent, like because like yeah, it's Pokemon, and to answer your earlier question, you can have them in your party. So like you catch them, and then a bunch go back to your Pokebox or whatever. Sorry, Pal box. And then you have like 5 in your party, and then you can cycle through them and summon one at a time, and then they walk around the world with you, and then have their Pokemon abilities that they can fire at people, and like they all have a special ability that you get to use with F if you've built an item for them. So you need like a harness or a saddle, and like you can ride them, or I can pick up my little Vulpix guy and shoot him as a flamethrower.
I saw that. It's pretty awesome.
Or equip them with guns. And so like yes, so to answer your question, yes, you do get to have your party. They get to come around in the world with you. You get to ride your flying ones, and it's rad. But to the guns thing, there's this weird undercurrent where like yeah, there's guns, very realistic guns, and like all your pals work for you at your base, and there's like you can build this overseer's station where you can set how much they work, and you can like work your pals to the bone, and like they can be working in your like pal sweatshop making you guns, and then there's a meat cleaver, and you can use it to butcher and eat your pals if you want.
What?
So like there's some dark stuff in there. Yeah.
Yeah, can you, I heard you can like make an example of them. Like that's a option. Like make an example of this one who's not working hard enough.
Yeah.
Eat it. Then you eat it.
I would support that whole design direction if at some point the pals have had enough and then turn against you
That'd be
and
cool.
decide you need to learn a lesson. That would be great. I would love that. And it's never, it's hard to discover or something,
Yeah.
Yeah, the PAL revolution happens.
Yeah.
They'll do it. It'll be patched in for sure. One of those games is probably going to last forever, and that's when they jump the shark.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes a survival game where you have to like survive against all the pals who want to go get you.
Yeah, that'd be super cool.
You have to like hide from the pals as they. Yeah. I like this.
Well, I feel like every podcast this week has to have like a Pal World report. So thank you for being that guy.
Obligatory Pal World.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing I've been doing, I'd probably is not as widespread, which is the Necromunda campaign I mentioned last time continues on. We're on cycle 2, and so one thing for those of you who have played Games Workshop like campaign games, you'll know that they have very serious feedback loops in them. So like very rich get richer, right? When you win, you get resources, which causes you to win more. So like you usually want to win early and often because that means that you're set up to keep winning. And so this campaign, that is, it's been going well for me, almost too well. And like I've already become like slight public enemy number 1. I've got the Delac, which is like kind of sneaky gang, and I've got these web guns that are super cheesy, and like they just capture you in webs, and then the game's over for you. And so I almost need like I've been feeling like I need to like purposefully nerf myself and not run my best list because I don't want people to like I don't want to become hated by the rest of the campaign.
That sounds fun though.
It is. And we have I've been kind of administrating for my group, which means like I kind of make rules calls and stuff, and I have some cool ideas to help people catch up. My buddy Matt owns way too many Warhammer models, and so we're like picking and choosing really cool models and then designing like custom rules for them and then coming up with thematic reasons to add them to people's gangs. So I think people will catch up when they start getting their bloodletter and their Necromunda gang or whatever.
Awesome.
Cool. Evan, what about you? I feel like I haven't heard your voice.
Yeah,
enough.
I was going to talk about the standing desk I got, because that's big news around here, but kind of already covered that. Yeah, I'm still playing Baldur's Gate. Megan calls it Balderdash. She goes, "Oh, you're playing Balderdash again?"
What if you're into that board game Balderdash as much as this? Yeah,
What's that?
I just remember that.
I'm on hour 80 of Balderdash.
What was Balderdash? It was like a party game, right? Like a board game.
Yeah. You have to
Is that an expression you'd say? Oh, Balderdash, or is that from the game itself?
If by you mean our grandparents, probably.
Yeah. Oh, Balderdash. Yeah, it's an old expression, I think. Yeah.
But I'm still on Act 3, and I'm just completely overwhelmed by all the there's 3 acts, and the first 2 have like a good amount of just side quests and things. But when you get to Act 3, it's all of a sudden everywhere you go and every person you talk to, there's some interweaving thing happening. And if you put the game aside and come back to it after long periods like I have, you just kind of forget like what's going on. So I'm trying to. I really want to wrap it up soon, because Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is the sequel to Remake, comes out at the end of February, and I want to have some time to play that. So I got to clear my schedule.
Well, you got like 3 weeks or something?
Yeah. Well, the demo releases tomorrow, so.
Whoa,
I
that's
think
exciting.
The demo
for
might
you.
be the first chapter of the game. I think there's 14 chapters.
Are you gonna play it?
Can you carry over your demo progress to the main game?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then you're never gonna finish Baldur's Gate.
I know. I'm going to finish it tonight.
Yeah, you don't sleep tonight, Evan.
You don't get to.
I'm not prepared for. I still have to. I've fully fulfilled like Shadow Heart's side quest or story arc or whatever, and that's pretty much it. There's stuff going on with Gale and Will and all these other characters, and it's overwhelming.
Wait, Baldur's Gate has characters named Gale and Will?
Yeah. Gale the wizard and Will the warlock.
It's like Gale, like Gail?
Gale. So it's
better.
And Will has a Y in it, so it's fantasy.
I was just thinking, those are just like the most regular names, Gale and Will.
But then there's Doug. There's Doug. Yeah. No.
DVG, Doug.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I'm doing as far as gaming.
Cool. So. Nice. Which leads us to our final segment. What is Andrew Navarro up to?
What am I up to?
Yeah, for fun.
So I finished Baldur's Gate 3.
Congrats.
Yeah, I thought I wasn't going to, but I was like, I can't work all the time.
No.
So in the times when I was not working, I was like either prepping for Gamefound or playing Baldur's Gate, pretty much.
Nice.
And I was so close to the end. I'm like, I'm just gonna power through this thing. So I had the same feeling you did, Evan, when I got to the 3rd act, where I was like, man, there's just so much. Like I feel like it's really probably best played multiple times. You just don't worry about doing everything. Just go through, see what happens, and then do it again. I think is more how it should be done.
The problem is I kept running into situations where I'd stumble into something and I felt like it was breaking my immersion to like leave it. Like there's
this is too important.
House.
You had.
Yeah, I can't just walk away from a haunted house. I have to explore it. So anyway, sorry.
I agree. That's exact. If I run into a haunted house, other one direction.
The characters I'm playing are brave enough to do it, not me.
Yeah. Holy shit! That's a gigantic spider.
Wow.
On the floor here. Sorry, it's big. I'm just gonna keep my eye on it.
Wow.
Stay there. Don't come near me.
Smash it
really
like a butterfly.
It's really big. I'm just gonna hope he goes a different direction. So yeah, I finished Baldur's Gate 3, and oh no, he's turning towards me.
Holy crap!
All right,
Can you show?
How big?
Can you show
Compared
us?
to-
Are you able to aim your camera at it for us?
it's like a
Wow.
big, it's like a big hairy guy.
Yikes.
How do you sleep?
Are you going to chug that water and then put the glass? Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
for
Spit
listeners
it,
at home.
Spit it
he
on
just
him.
chugged half a glass of water to
All right, here I
cover
go.
up this spider.
Oh my god, it's so big.
Whoa!
Oh, got him.
Wow!
Got him. Got him.
Slide it. Can you show it now? No, just leave him there.
I was really hoping for some off-camera, like, oh, he's got me. Ah!
They're fast. Yeah, it's
Whoa.
like one of those little like wolf spiders, you know.
Ugh.
Wow.
Yeah, these guys come in the house a lot, and we just
Phew.
take them out to the yard,
Mm-hmm.
leave them.
Say goodbye.
Yeah, so I think, I don't know, maybe they know, they're like, hey, you know, if you go in there and check it out, then they'll just take you outside and put you back in the yard. So go try it out.
It's really fun.
Yeah, exactly. They'll try to catch you. You might lose a leg, but it'll be fine. Yeah, so anyway, I finished it off. I thought it was all right. Like, it's you know, an amazing, massive game. I thought, compared to the first two Baldur's Gates, I thought the villain was a little less exciting. But to avoid spoilers, I'll leave it at that. But
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much immediately turned around and just made a new character and started over just to try some things out, and up the difficulty just to see what that felt like on the tactician difficulty. It's harder. Definitely harder. My son's been playing on the easiest difficulty, and he has so many hit points. Like, I think you get max hit points like every time you level up, so his characters have like 200 hit points apiece practically.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and he still has a little bit of trouble with some stuff I need to help him with. But yeah, tactician's tough. But the second time around, I started hiring people from Withers, who's like the dude who's hanging out in your camp, and he can like bring people back from the dead to join your party. And it just has pretty much one character from each class that you can just pay 100 gold and just have that person.
I've always wanted to try that. Yeah.
So I've just been playing around with some other classes and tried out what sorcerer's like. It's pretty cool. Paladin, bard. Yeah, I finally met Asterion in my first game at the very end.
Oh really? You didn't
Yeah.
have him in your party?
No, I didn't find him. And it just didn't work out. And
Well, at least you didn't kill him like I killed Karlak by accident.
yeah, you must have. Did you not even talk to Karlak? You just started the fight.
I just
Okay.
like sniped her from afar, so I didn't even have a chance to open dialogue.
Nice. As soon as you start talking, you're like, kill this person. So anyway, that's been that's fun. Persona 3 Reload just came out though, and I think that is I started playing that this weekend, and that's pretty cool. I really like that. I played a lot of Persona 5, but I didn't finish it. But this one, I don't know, there's something about the characters and the presentation that I love the Persona menus. They're so good. Their UI is just gorgeous. It's a beautiful game. So I've been kind of plinking around with that this past weekend. I think that might cure me of my Baldur's Gateism.
for now.
For now, yeah, for now.
I have a feeling that Baldur's Gate will be kind of like a Skyrim where, people go back for another playthrough, like, a couple years later.
I think they're going to do like a DLC. I've heard that they're working on something, so I'll probably go back and check that out. Maybe fight more dragons. Kind of like the first Baldur's Gate. There's not enough dragons.
Hmm.
Like, I want more
Good
dragons.
number of
to fight.
dungeons, not enough dragons.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. There are dragons at poignant parts, but I feel like, and there is one really cool dragon fight, but I feel like I want more dragons. And then the other night I watched, because it's out on Paramount Plus, the Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Oh yeah, I liked that.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I really liked Fallout.
Wait a minute.
A lot.
Now I can't remember if I liked it or not.
It's fine.
I loved Fallout.
Yeah,
Maybe
Fallout
I was just
is great.
Maybe I was just actually I don't remember what I thought of it.
It's long. It's very long.
Yeah.
Some of the action scenes were cool, but man, it's about an hour longer than it needs to be.
I remember now. I thought in the middle, it's so what's the word? When
Long.
things are so convoluted, implausible, just kind of so like
I get
what is
so
happening
weary of
now?
that stuff. I can't even stand prolonged or protracted action fight scenes anymore.
I remember now. I hated it. Oh yeah.
The final action scene is on the train was pretty good.
Dude,
that was great. It was worth the payoff. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. That's what I felt.
Yeah.
Sucked
that
up
was
until
cool.
then. Sucked until then.
Yeah, it was very good. I liked that a lot. But yeah, the rest of it, I just felt like, I don't know. It was like a movie done without an editor. It really felt like to me, both on the script and then on the final cut. It could have been an hour shorter. Could have had a lot less exposition in the dialogue. And then why are you doing a part 1 at this point? If like Mission Impossible 7, like
I know.
Mission Impossible 7 needs a part 1. I mean, come on now.
Come on, people.
Is it? But it like fully cliffhangers, right? It doesn't like resolve itself.
But you don't really care. Like I don't care.
Yes,
I didn't care.
I didn't care.
Like,
exactly. I'm like, I don't care what happens next. I don't want to watch this thing again.
Exactly. Which is why I didn't go see, like, because I think I remember like talking to you guys when I saw the trailer for the first time. I was like, this looks cool. Like all the way up until the end when it said part 1. And I was like, come on. And then like I'm out. I was like, I'm not even gonna, like, I was probably gonna go see it in the theater. I saw it was part 1. I'm like, forget it. I'll just wait till it comes on streaming, and maybe I'll see part 2 in the theater.
What's the character's name? Ethan Hunt?
Yeah,
Ethan Hunt.
Ethan Hunt will return.
He will return.
Oh my god.
Yep.
But I've loved the ones.
Tom Cruise though, still looking good.
Like Ghost Protocol and stuff. I liked these ones.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah,
they're mostly good.
Ghost Protocol's good. The first one's good. Third one's good.
Yep. Second one is the only one I didn't like. Before this one.
How do you even remember all those? If I saw all of them, I would get them all mixed together. I wouldn't remember.
Yeah, you could probably put them in a jar and just like shake them up and then spill them out and get a decent movie.
I like the one.
The second one is easy to remember. The second one is the one with
birds,
the slow-mo doves, and rock climbing, and he gets the mission and he throws the glasses and they explode. And
I saw that in the theater. I don't remember. I remember not liking it very much. So I've not seen it in a very long time.
Yeah. All right.
That's it. That's what I got.
Cool. I just remembered that one of my favorite pieces of art I watched this past couple weeks. It's that show, The Curse, that I had talked to you guys about. Andrew Navarro said,
I started watching it.
I will never watch that. And Evan
because it looks too cringy.
Too cringy. But the final episode is one of the most, if you like weird, unexpected things happening and stuff that doesn't really make sense, that's one of the best I've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
I might finish it now.
You should. I mean, you should like it, though. If you don't like it, don't. You know.
I just started watching the first season of True Detective for the first time.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very tense.
I've heard that there's a new season coming out that's supposed to be really good as well.
So
yes.
Yeah. Megan and I are
that's what got me to watch this, because there's supposed to be like a return to form from the first season with this
Jodie
Foster. Yeah.
And the other main character, I think, is from St. Paul or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna check. I'll check later.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. It's great to be back with you all. And yeah, go do the Gamefound if you haven't done that yet. Stay tuned for more fun stuff. We love you all. And Anders Game Corner might be back next time. And have a good one, everybody. Goodbye.
See ya.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Have a good
Bye.
weekend. Have a good weekend, huh? I never say that. It's Friday. Okay, bye.
Well, we're gonna post tomorrow now, so it's like this one's going up on a Tuesday. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
Didn't
have a
know that.
great weekend when you get there.
Eventually.
Have a good week. Have a good Wednesday. Okay, bye.
Bye for real.